Have you ever faced the mirror in the morning and noticed an impatient voice already planning your day for you? It tells you what to worry about, who to impress, what to avoid. By the time you take your first breath, you are already reacting to a script written before. This inner script, that urgent, self-justifying chatter, is what people call the ego. And the problem is not that it exists, the problem is that it usually runs the show. Carl Jung warned us that until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Imagine if 5 minutes each morning could loosen the grip of that invisible director. Not by defeating the ego, but by noticing it. Not by denying its usefulness, but by refusing its unconscious authority. The practice I will show you is simple, practical, and built to interrupt autopilot. Begin with naming. Sit up. Breathe 3 times. Ask, what is the loudest voice in me right now? Listen, just notice without judging. Name it: anxiety about work, fear of being judged, the need to prove yourself. Saying it aloud detaches power. It is a tiny act of clarity that exposes the pattern. Jung said, knowing your own darkness is the best method for dealing with the darknesses of other people. Naming is the first light. The second move is alignment. After naming, choose one small action that aligns with who you want to be, not with who your ego says you must be. It can be as small as drinking water before checking your phone, taking a short walk, or writing a single line that matters to you. The ego prefers spectacle. Alignment prefers substance. This choice, repeated daily, rewires instinct. It teaches your mind mornings are for intention, not reactivity. Expect resistance. The ego defends identity. When you break a habit, it will whisper, "Who are you to take this time?" You'll feel guilt. That's normal. Respond with curiosity. What do you fear will be lost if I start here? Most answers reveal that the ego is protecting a fragile image, not flourishing. Marcus Aurelius offered a useful reminder. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. Use that power to stay grounded. The third element is a boundary. Commit to a period, 45 minutes or as short as 10, free from email, news, or social media. That boundary is not arrogance. It is a defensive perimeter that lets intention form before distraction arrives. In that quiet, choose one central intention for the day, something real and manageable. Finish a draft, listen fully to a partner, keep calm in a meeting. An intention centered on values is a compass when the ego tries to reroute you toward immediate validation. The fourth practice is a question of service. Ego seeks notice, service seeks contribution. Before diving into tasks, ask, how can I be genuinely useful today without sacrificing my integrity? This shifts energy from proving to serving. When you orient toward service, applause becomes optional, and inner steadiness grows. You will find that your decisions begin to feel less reactive and more like choices. There is also a tiny but essential discipline: brevity in response. The ego loves long explanations, defenses, and justifications. One of the most freeing acts is to practice short replies. When something challenges you, respond with a measured, clear sentence rather than an essay of defense. Over time, people learn what you mean without you having to perform for them. It is a way of reclaiming your voice without aggression. If this concept is making sense to you, click the subscribe button and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for your support. You might ask, does this make me cold or indifferent? Not at all. The aim is not to become unfeeling, but to become whole. Jung's path of individuation was never about suppression. It was about integration. One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious, he wrote. The ritual is an invitation to integrate your parts so the ego stops ruling unconsciously.
Practicality matters. Keep the ritual brief. They succeed when tiny and repeatable. 5 to 15 minutes each morning is enough to change the day's trajectory, because small, consistent actions reprogram habits. Carry a notebook. Write one sentence after the ritual. What shifted? What resisted? These quick records build a pattern you can look back on. evidence that the practice works. You'll also meet social friction. When you change, your relationships may be surprised. People accustomed to your former patterns will test the new boundaries. Hold them gently and consistently. Balance firmness with kindness. You are not practicing aloofness, you are practicing sovereignty. Over time, a new equilibrium will form in which your presence, rather than your compliance, defines interactions. Remember that taming the ego is not taming it into silence. It is learning to listen to it as one voice among many. It is teaching the ego to be a co-worker rather than the boss. A short morning ritual trains the nervous system to respond rather than react, to choose rather than perform. If you begin the practice, check in after a week. Small experiments reveal whether a ritual is sustainable. Adjust the timing, refine the questions, and make it your own. The work is simple, but not always easy. The toughest part is consistency. The reward is subtle but profound. More presence, clearer choices, and a life less shaped by other people's expectations. Stay with me. In the next part, we will explore the language the ego uses to sabotage you and learn precise, non-provocative phrases to answer it. We will practice how to say no with brevity and dignity, so the habit of approval slowly dissolves. Are you ready to hear the sentences that interrupt the old script and the alternatives that free you?
Listen carefully to the ego's vocabulary. It speaks in a handful of recurring sentences designed to keep you small and visible at the same time. Notice them and you begin to see the trick. The ego's common phrases are persuasive because they feel true. They are stitched from memory, shame, and moments when you once needed approval to survive. They sound like, if I don't do it, they won't like me. I have to prove I'm capable. I can't show weakness. Or, if I ask for that, I'll be rejected. These are not neutral statements. They are contracts you made in the past to get through a particular moment. Today, they keep you performing. Start by cataloging the phrases. For 2 mornings, write down every automatic sentence that arises before you are even fully awake. Don't judge them. Treat them as field notes. This isn't therapy for perfection. It is reconnaissance. Once you have a list, the next step is delicate. Translate each phrase into its hidden offer. For example, I must be useful often disguises a bargain. If I make myself necessary, I will be safe. I can't show weakness often masks the fear. If I show I need help, I will be abandoned. When you translate the sentence, you stop being hostage to its grammar. You see the cost it exacts. A practical trick, attach a one-line response to each ego sentence that is short, non-performative, and true. The goal is not to annihilate the voice, but to add a quiet alternative. When the ego says, if I don't do this, they'll think less of me, your response could be, that's okay. Their opinion is not my compass. When the mind says, I must always be useful, you can reply, I am already valuable. These are not slogans, they are tiny reframes that interrupt the script. Speak them aloud in the morning ritual. Repetition builds a new syntax for your day. Practice also changing the question the ego asks. The ego loves how will they see me, an external lens. Train yourself to ask instead, how will this help me be the person I want to become? The shift moves the horizon inward, from performance to purpose. Jung reminds us that who looks outside dreams, who looks inside awakes. Let your morning questions be aligned with awakening. Ask, what would a steady, honest person choose right now? What would a kind person do for themselves before attending to others? Answer those before opening the door to other people's agendas. Role play is surprisingly effective. In the quiet of your ritual, imagine a short scene. Someone asks you for a favor that drains you. Let the ego speak first, full of speed and obligation. Then let your new voice answer. Do it twice. The first time you may stumble. That's expected. The second time you'll catch a calmer cadence. Rehearsal trains not only words, but physiology. Your jaw unclenches, your breath lengthens, your posture softens. This practice turns a future reaction into a present choice. Be precise with refusals. The ego prefers long justifications because they keep you emotionally entangled. Learn the art of the crisp refusal. Try simple lines. I can't this time. I won't be available, or I'm not able to take that on. Short, clear, unembroidered. If someone presses, add a boundary sentence that is matter-of-fact, not apologetic. I'm prioritizing other commitments right now. If the ego insists you must be warm and exhaustive, resist. Firmness is not cruelty. It is a form of clarity that honors both parties by being honest. Expect an internal chorus when you practice these things. Old voices will gather. Guilt, fear, the imagined reactions of others. You will feel like you are abandoning someone, the younger version of yourself who once needed approval. That sensation is real, and it deserves a place in the ritual. A short, compassionate phrase works well. I hear you. Thank you for protecting me. I'm safe now. Jung's work teaches us integration, not annihilation. Recognize the protector and then invite it to a new role. Another subtle move is to limit the ego's storytelling time. The mind enjoys spinning out worst-case scenarios, rehearsing rejections, inventing slights. When you notice this loop, give it a timer. Allow 2 minutes of noticing, then shift. Use a physical anchor. Stand, stretch, sip water, and redirect to an action that aligns with your intention. The ritual trains your attention. You signal to your nervous system that worry has its schedule and it will not be allowed to colonize the whole morning. There is also a social experiment you can run. For a week, choose one micro-boundary to test publicly. Decline an extra obligation, leave a conversation early, or skip answering a message immediately. Note the social temperature of the accident. You may be surprised. Most people adapt. Some will be puzzled, a few will push back, but the majority will respect your consistency. Each time you hold the boundary, you are reshaping the social map that once ran through your faint yeses. The ego's fear imagines catastrophic fallout. Experience shows the fallout is rarely as dramatic as imagined. If this content is making sense to you, click the subscribe button and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for your support. Language matters. Replace I have to with I choose to as often as you can. The grammar shift matters because it returns agency to you. I have to help feels like a slavery contract. I choose to help places the action on your terms. Small linguistic shifts accumulate into a new posture. Pay attention to shoulds in conversation with yourself. They are often the ego's shorthand for old bargains. Ask, who decided this should? Is it still mine? Practice compassionate curiosity toward the ego's moral claims. The voice that insists you must be perfect is usually rescuing you from shame. Instead of attacking it, interrogate its evidence. Where did you learn that perfection kept you safe? Who taught you that vulnerability equals loss? Often these lessons come from moments in childhood or relationships where acceptance was conditional. Naming the origin deactivates the blind obedience. Finally, cultivate a morning image to anchor your new habit. Before leaving the ritual, picture yourself at the day's end, calm, present, non-reactive. Imagine an instance where the ego would typically hijack you and picture yourself meeting it with the practiced sentence, the pause, the boundary. Visualization is not magic, it is rehearsal. It primes the nervous system for the real encounter. This part of the ritual, listening to the ego, translating its bargains, rehearsing crisp replies, shortening its time, creates practical freedom. You are not tricking yourself into false serenity, you are building competency. Competency yields confidence. Confidence dissolves the ego's need for constant validation. The longer you practice these small acts, the more the ego learns to cooperate rather than command. In the next part, we will drill into the specific phrases you can use in conversation to protect your boundaries without escalating conflict. We will practice the exact cadence and tone that preserves dignity on both sides and makes saying no feel possible. We will also explore how to handle the relational fallout when your people test the new you. Are you ready to learn the sentences that change everything? Now we arrive at the practical sentences, the exact phrases, the cadence, and the tone you can use when the ego drags you into old habits. These are not scripts to perform like a robot. They are calibrated responses that preserve dignity, minimize drama, and protect your attention. The skill is in saying less and meaning more. Begin with the neutral decline. When asked to do something you cannot or do not want to do, try, "I'm not available for that." Short, factual, non-justifying. If pressed, add, "I appreciate you asking, but I need to focus on other priorities." Note the two parts, polite acknowledgement, then boundary. Tone steady, neither defensive nor needy. When others push, use a conditional refusal. "If it's urgent, I can help later. Otherwise, I can't right now." This gives a clear option while preserving your limit. Pauses matter, signal presence, and give the other person space to hear you. For emotional demands, someone needing reassurance or constant availability, use, "I care about you, but I can't be your only support." It sets a boundary on emotional labor while acknowledging the relationship. Inside your ritual, say, "I hear you. This feels like abandonment because you once needed something I couldn't give. I choose something different now." This calms the protector without surrendering the present choice. When the ego wants to argue, use the stopping phrase. "I've explained my position. I'm choosing to move forward." It ends circular conversations. If the other persists, repeat without additional defense. Repetition removes performance and tells your nervous system you mean it. To reclaim time, practice the micro-exit. When a conversation drains you, say, "I need to step away and return to this later." Then leave. Don't promise when you'll return unless you know. Vague future promises often tether you. Tone is as important as words. The ego's tone is reactive, high volume, rapid pace. Your new tone should be even, lower, unhurried. Speak slowly so your breath stays steady. Slowing the tempo changes physiology. Heart rate dips, muscles unclench, presence becomes harder to tug. Practice reading your lines in the mirror. Strange actions recalibrate habit. Add a somatic anchor. Before you respond, touch your thumb to your index finger, ground your feet, or take one measured breath. Small physical gestures become cues that interrupt reactivity and bring you back to presence. Over time, the body learns the meaning of the gesture. Tension dissolves, and words follow a calmer channel. This is not performance. It is a practical rewiring of how you show up under stress. Expect relational consequences. People who benefited from your old availability may be upset or test your boundaries. That initial shock is common. Your consistency will teach them a new rhythm. When you hold the boundary calmly, most relationships reorganize toward healthier patterns. A few will push, shame, or withdraw. Those patterns reveal incompatibility rather than failure. If someone lashes out, prioritize safety. Use the safety line. "I won't continue this conversation while you're being disrespectful. We can talk later when it's calmer." Peacekeeping is not kindness when it costs your dignity. Have recovery phrases for guilt and remorse. After a boundary, you may feel an ache, a whisper that you were cruel. Counter it with, "Saying no was necessary. I acted with care for my limits." Repeat it and record it in your ritual notebook. Over time, this builds trust in yourself, the antidote to the ego's fear. Role play in controlled settings. With a friend, practice boundary conversations. One plays the old you, the other practices new lines. Switch roles. Debrief feelings. Role play converts phrases into embodied responses and reduces the chance of reverting under stress. Shortness wins. The ego loves stories because stories keep you entangled. Pretend your words are currency. Spend them sparingly. Reserve long explanations for times they genuinely move matters forward, not for rituals of self-justification. The less you explain, the less ammunition the ego has to spin regret. Apply the ritual to digital life. Use quick auto responses. "I received this. I'll get back when I can." Or, Schedule email blocks so your availability has a perimeter. The ego thrives on immediacy because immediacy equals perceived relevance. Slowing your rhythms signals that you measure worth by values, not by timers. If this content is making sense to you, click the subscribe button and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for your support. Social recalibration is a pruning process. When you change how you operate, some interactions fall away. Think of it as pruning a plant. Some stems remove energy from the whole. The loss can sting, but it creates resources for deeper relationships. The pruning is not punishment, it is discernment. Finally, cultivate a quick repair for slips. If you respond the old way, over-explaining or collapsing into guilt, don't narrate self-judgment. Apply 3 steps. Acknowledge, learn, reset. Say inwardly, I did what I knew in that moment. I will practice the line again. Note one tweak for next time. Reset with a short breath practice and return to your day. Fast repair prevents the ego from turning a lapse into a runaway failure story. The sentences you choose now invite a different life. Small decisive moves alter your internal landscape. Use them consistently in your morning ritual. Rehearse until they become muscle memory. Your voice will change from a beg to a boundary, from performance to preference. Track small wins. Jot one sentence daily about a boundary held or a short reply used. After 2 weeks, you will see patterns. Small data turns subjective change into visible proof, which weakens the ego's dire predictions. And keep going. In the next part, we will bind the ritual into a weekly architecture, a simple plan to scale morning minutes into sustainable change across months. We will explore tracking progress, using small data to measure internal shifts, and weathering social tests without abandoning yourself. Are you ready to build the scaffold for the inner work? Now we build the scaffold, a weekly architecture that turns 5 to 15 daily minutes into real, cumulative change across months. The ritual stops being a morning curiosity and becomes a way of living when you design simple systems around it: pattern, measurement, accountability, and gentle repair. What follows is a practical plan that preserves curiosity and resists moralizing. It's a framework you can test, tweak, and own. Begin with a minimal weekly plan. Choose 3 short morning practices from the previous parts: naming the loudest voice, a single alignment action, and 1 crisp phrase for likely challenges. Commit to them Monday through Friday for the first 4 weeks. Keep the total under 20 minutes. The rule is consistency over intensity. Short, repeatable actions beat heroic, unsustainable rituals. The ritual's job is to change the trajectory of your day, not to become a performance you dread. Insert a measurable micrometric. Don't track your virtue, track behavior. Examples: did I do the ritual today? Yes, no. Did I pause before responding in a triggering moment? Count 0 to 3. How many times did I default to an old, long-winded defense? Count. Use a tiny notebook, a habit app, or a single line in your daily planner. The goal is not perfection, but small data. Visible patterns you can respond to rationally instead of arguing with feelings. Small data exposes trends and dissolves the ego's dramatic narrative. I always fail becomes I missed the ritual 3 of 7 days this week. Assign a weekly review. Pick one window, Sunday evening or Saturday morning, when you scan the micrometric and write 3 short lines. What worked, what surprised you, 1 tweak for next week. Keep language unemotional and specific. For example, worked, I paused twice in meetings. Surprise, guilt showed up after saying no. Tweak, practice a 2-sentence refusal before Tuesday. This habit trains reflective muscle and replaces endless self-judgment with pragmatic iteration. Jung's individuation is a project of noticing and choosing. The weekly review is the engine of that project. Invite a social accountability partner. Choose someone who is neither a rescuer nor a harsh judge. Someone who can ask if you did the practice, hear the microdata, and offer a question or two. Weekly 5-minute check-ins work better than long moralizing conversations. Accountability speeds learning because it reintroduces reality. Consistency increases when someone else knows you're trying. Make the check-in practical. Read one micrometric line and name one tiny adjustment. Avoid turning the partner into an audience for excuses. Scale by structuring monthly themes. Month 1, attention, naming and pausing. Month 2, boundaries, short refusals and micro-exits. Month 3, integration, shadow work and compassionate phrases. Each month you keep a core daily 5-minute spine and add one experimental practice twice weekly. Themes prevent diffuse self-improvement intentions and create a curriculum. Small themes make progress visible. By month 3, you will have a repertoire of responses rather than a single heroic attempt that fails under stress. Expect social weather. When you change, your social climate will shift. Some relationships will applaud and reorganize. Others will test. Prepare a short script for relational tests. I'm trying a new morning practice to be more present. I'm not rejecting you. I'm practicing a different way of showing up. Use it once, then let behavior do the work. Most people adapt faster than your anxiety predicts. Those who escalate repeatedly reveal misalignment rather than a problem in you. Make a repair protocol for setbacks to keep momentum. Setbacks are inevitable. When you miss the ritual or react old-fashionedly, follow a 3-step repair. Pause, 1 breath, journal 1 sentence about what happened, and recommit 1 tiny ritual immediately. The repair resets the nervous system and prevents an error from becoming a habit. Quick, unemotional repair is a discipline the ego hates because it dissolves catastrophizing. Over time, quick repairs build resilience and weaken the ego's doomsday stories. Create environmental supports. Block an email window in the morning. Put your phone out of reach. Keep a ritual notebook on your nightstand. The ego seeks frictionless performance, so add friction to its impulses. Make the default path the practice path. If the alignment action is write 1 line, keep a pen and a 2-line journal ready. If the pause is a breath, place a small stone by your sink as a touch cue. Small design choices reduce decision fatigue and make the ritual easier to keep. Add a fortnightly integration session, longer and quieter. Every 2 weeks, spend 20 to 40 minutes doing a deeper practice. Journaling a pattern of ego narratives, visualizing a hard conversation, or writing a short letter to a younger self who needed approval. These sessions are not therapy, they are inquiry. They surface repeating scripts and give you material to test in the coming week. Keep them private and non-performative. They are raw data for your inner lab. Measure progress qualitatively as well. At the end of each month, answer 3 questions in 2 sentences each. Where did I feel calmer? Where did I still get hijacked? What one phrase felt most useful? These reflective prompts create a narrative of growth that is not ego-driven. The ego wants applause. Your internal metric should be steadiness. Are you less reactive than last month? Can you tolerate discomfort without performing for approval? Small, honest answers produce practical confidence. Reward consistency, not perfection. Choose micro-rewards. A quiet coffee after a week of ritual. A long walk after a month. Or a book you've wanted after 3 months. Rewards align with values. Don't use food or impulsive buys that feed the ego's shortcut loops. Rewards should celebrate skill building, you practiced pausing, rather than outcomes, someone finally praised you. This distinguishes internal competence from external validation. If this content is making sense to you, click the subscribe button and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for your support. Finally, plan for maintenance. After 3 months, shift to a maintenance rhythm, 5 core minutes each morning and a weekly review. Check the micrometrics monthly and revive the fortnightly integration session if you notice slippage. The goal is sustainability, a life shaped by choice rather than chain reactions. Remember the paradox. The less you chase approval, the more presence you garner. The more presence you have, the less the ego can convincingly scare you. Close with a short experiment you can run today. Set a 10-minute window this evening. In it, write the one ego sentence that most often trips you up. Pair it with a one-line response and rehearse that line aloud 3 times. Tomorrow morning, use it once. That tiny loop, identify, reframe, rehearse, creates immediate leverage. If this video confronted you, made you think, touched a part of you that you usually avoid, then comment here. I choose to tame my ego.